We have new business starting off at 159, 161 High Street. I see the mayor is here. Zone MCDD. Approval pursuant to CGS 824 for sale of property by the City of Milford on map 054, block 332, parcel 17, which the City of Milford is the owner. Good evening, Mayor. If you might address us on the issue, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman Sadi. I stand before you tonight representing the City of Milford. We have two parcels that are city-owned, one being 203 High Street and 159-161 High Street, which are both located in the TOD zone. What's before you tonight is requesting a referral to the full Board of Aldermen in order to sell these two parcels, these two city-owned lots that are in the TOD district through RFP for highest and best use. And if there's any questions, I'd like to answer them at any time.
Sure, if we could. We addressed just the first one, but because you're talking about the second one, I'll put on the record. It's 203 High Street, which is an SFA-10 district. Approval pursuant to 824 for sale of property to the City of Milford on map 054, block 321, parcel 33, of which the City of Milford is the owner. I know that you did reference the TOD, but our actual zoning regulations might be slightly different. In any event, are there any questions by members of the board? Mr. Anderson, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Remember very well the multifamily at 159, 161 that adjoins a city-owned lot. And I wonder if you would share with us what the intent is on that parcel in particular, number one. And number two, in the case where there is a disposition, what kind of contact is made with the immediate neighbors?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Commissioner Anderson. So my vision is that this property will be purchased and be developed as a multifamily house, preferably a three-family with an affordability component. It is city-owned property. It was purchased for the purpose at that time to enhance the parking, but there's no need for additional parking, and the grade is not sufficient for a parking lot. There was a structure on this property previously when the city did purchase it, so I'm looking to put back more housing, affordable housing there, which is, what this board is accustomed to. There's a shortage of housing throughout the state, throughout the city, and this is a great opportunity for the city to put forward an opportunity to develop housing through an RFP. Thank you.
Thank you for your response.
Any other questions?
Good evening, Mayor. So for 203 High Street, is there a plan in place for that as well?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, it would be the same process, very transparent process. In discussions with the city planner, the RFP will enable the city to maintain control of the property, like I mentioned previously, to add the affordable component, to make sure that it's being used for housing.
I see. I see on your, sorry, it's a little loud. On the map it says Catholic Family Services. Is that still there?
No, they have vacated the property during the pandemic. It hasn't been there for 2 years.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mayor, I have a follow-up question for Commissioner Anderson, and we're really happy to see the commitment of your administration for affordable housing. Could you share with us approximately how much of the affordable housing would be 100%? Would it be 50% or any smaller numbers?
Well, at least 10% or more. depending on how the RFP is structured and what type of interest we get, and the value of the land. We don't know what the value of the land is at this time, but that'll all play into it.
Would the city be considering something way more than 10% because this is city-owned property and we need to have affordable housing?
Understood. It will be at least 10%, but, you know, we'll do our best to get more, obviously. But the starting process will be, you know, 10%.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Mr. Collegian?
So your intent is to put the affordable housing component in the RFP.
Yes, that is correct. That'll be part of the,
So if you put in 10%, you're just going to hope and pray that somebody wants to go with like 80 instead?
excuse me?
Why would you not put a higher amount in the RFP? If you put 10% in, you're going to get 10%.
Well, we don't know how many units, you know, for an example, 159, 161, that's only going to be a 3-unit multifamily house. So if one unit's affordable, that's 30%. That's a third. So on 203 High Street, we don't know how many units will, you know, be allowed there or fit there, but depending on, you know, the density, then we will, you know, ask for it as a higher percentage.
But if it's in the RFP, you're not going to have the chance to go back and get a second bite at the apple.
That's a conversation that we're going to have through the RFP process. We're going to be very transparent, and we will advocate for as much affordability as possible.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
Mr. Sulkus, yes.
what I was going to add to the conversation is that we don't know the value of the land. We don't know what we're going to be selling it for. And as we heard when we had an economics and legal lesson from some local developers and attorneys, there's a cost obviously associated with affordable housing. So obviously, depending on the value of the land, we may be able to get more than the 10%, but at this point it's too early to know because we don't know the value. And again, the mayor's here just to ask for the ability to sell the land.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sulkus. Any further comments or questions? I'll listen. We're going to do breaking this up into 2 separate motions, please. We'll take up 159, 161 High Street, please.
All right, I move to approve as presented, approval pursuant to CGS Section 824 for sale of property by the City of Milford on map 054, block 332, parcel 17, of which City of Milford is the owner.
I second.
There being a motion and it being fully seconded, would you take the roll call, please, Susan?
Mr. Agnesi?
With the motion.
Mr. Allen?
With the motion.
Mr. Anderson?
With the motion.
Mr. Hirsch?
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian?
With the motion.
Mr. Macchio?
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
With the motion.
Mr. Sadi?
With the motion. We now have 203 High Street. I'll listen to anybody who wants to make a motion on said matter.
Okay. I move to approve as presented, approval pursuant to CGS Section 824 for sale of property by the City of Milford on map 054, block 321, parcel 33, of which City of Milford is the owner.
I second.
We now have a motion and a second. Would you take the roll call, please, Susan?
Mr. Agnesi?
With the motion.
Mr. Allen?
With the motion.
Mr. Anderson?
With the motion.
Mr. Hirsch?
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian?
With the motion.
Mr. Macchio?
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
With the motion.
Mr. Sadi?
With the motion, thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman Saudi, and thank you, members of the board. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. We have number 3 is Willem Court. Is there somebody to present this, David?
There is not, because it's an administrative function of the board. And just to add some clarification to a question that might come up, the way the letter from the city engineer states that the bond should be returned, The amount that should be retained of the overall bond is $141,330. Anything left over from I believe the original bond was in the 900,000s, could be returned. So what would be retained is $141,330.
Thank you. I think that this, for some of the new members, you may not understand, but there's a bond that has to be placed for certain construction. And some of the construction has been completed, and we had the city engineer's report, and the numbers that Mr. Sulkus just gave it was a total of everything that came from his, Mr. Bidlusky's letter and report concerning this. David, was there any administrative summary on this one?
I apologize, I did not get to an administrative summary on this.
And you don't have to apologize, just there's not one, you didn't need to do it. So are there any questions by members of the board through me to Mr. Sulkus on what we're going to be doing here?
I can give more background if people...
That'd be wonderful, thank you.
So basically, when you approve a subdivision, and we haven't approved many large ones in a while, but this was one of them, a bond is calculated for public improvements, drainage, landscaping, all of those features. On this particular subdivision, the bond amount was close to $1 million. It was $900 and something thousand. And what happens is as progress is made on the construction and the street is put in, the developer can ask for a reduction in that bond amount, which is what the developer did. And then by our regulations, we send that request over to Public Works, and through the city engineer, they evaluate what's been done, what hasn't been done. And in this case, he came up with a list of items that still need to be addressed that have a price tag of $141,330, which is the amount that we would retain, and then the balance of the bond that we have, we would return.
Thank you, Mr. Sulkus. Any questions of Mr. Sulkus? Mr. Hirsch, go ahead.
But wouldn't keeping the original bond incentivize the developer to perform the work in an expedient manner?
Often, yes, but usually $141,000 would also help in this case. There are items that haven't been done yet because houses haven't been put into place yet, which have drainage systems that have to be accounted for. So there's, part of the fee is that. Part of the fee is sort of tying up loose ends for the subdivision, which would, for instance, be, filed on the land records once everything is done. So yeah, I mean, the more money we hold on to, the more of an incentive it is. But, $141,000 is a good amount of retainage, again, and that's for the items that are outstanding in case we have to go in and do it. But the anticipation is that we wouldn't have to do that, that they want their $141,000 back.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Does the motion have to include the actual dollar amount that is being returned? Or can we just go what's written here?
I would, if you have if you want the dollar amount to be returned, then I would actually have to go calculate that. I'd have to try to dig out the bond while we're sitting here, unless you come up with a motion that says the bond you recommend the bond be returned with a retainage of $141,330 for the items as listed in the city engineer's report.
Okay, so, gotcha.
Any other questions or comments? I'll listen to a motion, please.
I move to approve as presented a request by J.P. Guerra LLC for a partial bond release, which includes a retainage of $141,330 for work associated with the subdivision known as Miranda Meadows, in accordance with the memo from Greg Paduski, Pedlewski, city engineer for David Solkis, city planner, dated March 24th, 2024. I mentioned the retainage of $141,330. Is that sufficient?
Seems to be. Any second?
I second.
Thank you. The motion with the number in there and a second by Mr. Agnese. If we could take the call, please.
Mr. Agnesi.
With the motion.
Mr. Allen.
With the motion.
Mr. Anderson.
With the motion.
Mr. Hirsch.
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian.
With the motion.
Mr. Machio.
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer.
With the motion.
Mr. Savick.
With the motion. Thank you very much. We now go to 2 public hearings, closed by June 25th, 2022, a vote by July 30th, 2024. I think that's a typographical error. It's closed by June 25th of 2024. Okay. The first one we have is 100 Raton Drive, Zone LI, petition of Thomas Lynch, Esquire, for a special exception to allow a kitchen for a pizza service at Tribus Beer Company at map 73, block 928, parcel 4Q, of which YDF Connecticut Holdings LLC is the owner. Good evening, Attorney Lynch.
Good evening, Mr. Sadie and the members of the board. Just for the record, my name is Thomas Lynch. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lynch, Trimbicki, and Boynton, and my office is located here in Milford at 63 Cherry Street. And I represent the Tribus Beer Company, and 2 of the owners of Tribus are here with me tonight, Matt Weichner and Sebastian D'Agostino. Matt and Sebi have run a very successful business at the tap room in the manufacturing facility at 100 Raton Drive that was approved by this board after lengthy public hearings back in December of 2017. At that time, the application that was presented to you was a special exception because in the LI zone where this property is located, a beer manufacturing facility is a permitted use. But the special component of that application was the tap room that was to be developed in conjunction with the manufacturing facility. So as I said, back on December 19th of 2017, that was approved. My clients occupy approximately 10,000 square feet of a 15,000 foot building at 100 Raton Drive. They signed a lease a number of years ago. It's been extended. And as I said, they've done a wonderful business there. I don't know if any of the board members have been out there, but it's really one of Milford's great social additions over the past few years. Dockside Brewery as well on the Bridgeport Avenue. Very vibrant environment there, and it's really been a big plus to Milford. So the special exception that was granted in 2017 was then amended. We again appeared before you in 2018 because of customer requests. The outdoor patio or the beer garden to the north side of the building, this board granted an amendment to the special exception to allow a tent to be put up seasonally so that they could have outdoor usage of that patio, even in weather that wasn't bright and sunny like it would be in the middle of the summer. So we've been before you twice with applications that have been approved. This is our second request for an amendment, and we had discussions with David, and David felt that in all fairness we should come back to the board for this particular request. Again, due to customer demand, customer request, the brewery has been seeking an agreement with Zupardi's Pizza of West Haven. So they are going to be buying frozen pizza from Zupardi's and featuring the Zupardi's name here in their tap room. And this kitchen is to provide for a warming oven and cleaning facilities for that use only. It is not a kitchen that is going to be used for the preparation of food. There will be no preparation of food. My clients have already discussed and have sought a permit with the health department, and the plans that David has on the screen now has been reviewed by the health department, and they're in full agreement with the layout. So again, I don't know if any of you have been at Tribus, but if you look at the floor plan, when you come in from the side entrance through the patio, there's the large tap room. There's a bar that's there. There's a multitude of beer taps that are along the wall there. And the bar basically wraps around the area where the beer taps are. Behind that area are existing offices, and the design or the plan is to take one of the office areas and convert it into the kitchen. So David's going to scroll down a little bit because we do have an enlarged, yep. You saw on the previous graphic the overall floor plan of the facility itself, and off to the far side is the area where the beer is manufactured in itself. There's a hallway behind that leading to a large room where groups can gather. But this particular room is behind the bar, and it's been laid out, and the picture speaks for itself. There's going to be electrical outlets installed. There's going to be a freezer for the pizzas to be maintained in the freezer until they're warmed up. There's going to be a cleaning area, sink area, and then there's going to be the pizza oven itself. So again, this has been reviewed by the health department. We're before you with a request to amend our current special exception. I don't know if David was going to remind you, but I'll remind you that this is a special exception application. Under our zoning regulations, a majority of the full board has to vote in favor of this application. So we were hoping that we would get at least 7 members here tonight, and we do. So that I'm just saying to you, as a special exception, we do need your full support if this is going to move forward. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. My clients are here as well if there's any specific questions that I can't entertain. But again, these guys are running a great business. It's very popular. It's been a great addition to Milford, and I think that it's a rather straightforward and simple request. And again, we're stressing to you that this is not turning this into a restaurant. It's not going to be like Colony Pizza, where you're going to go in and order food and it's going to be prepared. This is merely for serving pizzas that are frozen, brought in from zoo parties, and served to patrons. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Attorney Lynch. Are there any questions from the members of the board?
Mr. Chair, I must disclose that I am a member of the Tribus Mug Club. I do not believe this will affect my impartiality.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm not sure
That
what
would
that is, but
have been
it's
nice
not
to
gonna
have
be
known that
affected
before
by it.
tonight.
any other comments or questions? by
I'll
the
let you
board?
vote. I don't care.
I do have a couple of questions for you, Tom. Thank you. And I guess that since Mr. Agnese puts it on the record, I did have a birthday party recently that was probably paid for by my children at this location. It's not going to affect me either.
I know for a fact it was a big one too. So,
So,
and I'm right behind you.
thank you, Tom. When you get there, I'll hopefully be invited to yours.
Okay.
So the question I have, you're taking over the old office and the design that we had, is that have to be exactly that way? Is that because it says provided to do such and such?
Well, it provides access to the bar area where the patrons are going to be getting their pizza and eating. So that's
My main point is that is a schematic of what's going to be done if we approve this.
correct.
And the pizza oven that you're referring to, I didn't hear you address it appropriately. Size of it, it looks pretty large in the diagram, but
Yeah, it's as you would see in most pizzerias, an oven that's probably 4 by 4 feet. It's going to be electric. I'm being told by Matt it's even going to be smaller than that. So it's going to be pretty innocuous.
okay.
Okay.
Any other questions by the members? Mr. Hirsch?
One more time, what is the size of the oven?
The size of the oven is approximately.
The space that they're looking to occupy is 144 inches by 120 inches. That's the size of the kitchen.
So roughly 2 feet by 4. It's a tabletop oven at 2 feet approximately by 3 feet.
Okay, we're talking just pizza here. Does that mean you can't heat up, chicken tenders or?
Yeah, no, just pizza. I think and pretzels, maybe. But nothing, no menu. There will be no menu. It's just pizza.
Thank you.
Is there a summary?
Is there some ruling that could be made as to whether or not John can vote or not, or is that up to David, or does John feel that he should not vote?
I believe I can be impartial.
I thought that's what I heard him say, that he
Okay.
told us what his interest might be, but he said it's not going to affect his decision. Is there any? Give me 1 second. Mr. Sulkus, is there any administrative summary on this? It may not be necessary.
It was not necessary. This is a 10 by 12 room that they want to heat pizza in, so I didn't think there was much more I can say.
Not disagreeing with your analysis. So, for purpose of what we're doing here, this is a public hearing. I see your two clients, yourself, and I see another counsel here, and then we can see the Veterans Memorial out through the door. But for the purpose of the record, anybody wish to speak in favor or against this particular public hearing? Seeing none, is there any reason we should not close this public hearing? Again, seeing none, we'll close this public hearing. Any further comments or questions by the members of the board? Mr. Hirsch? Mr. Anderson, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Not directly related to the pizza operation, which is most welcome, but I did attend those hearings back in 2017, and this is a very different evening. And I think this speaks to the impact that Tribus has had on the community, its acceptance. It's certainly ground zero for a lot of fun activities that take place, particularly on Sunday or weekends. How are you all doing with parking?
I think the public hearing is closed. But I'd be happy to answer, but how are you doing the parking? All on the street and on our? Okay. No issues. There's cars parked on Raton Drive, and there's some 57 spaces per the site plan, I believe, on their property. So there's been no issues with neighbors. I don't believe there's been complaints that they're parking in any of the businesses.
Yeah, I'm not so much concerned from the neighbor standpoint as whether there is sufficient parking, because it's a big draw.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. So public hearing has been closed. Any further comments regarding the issue? Seeing none, I'll take a motion on 100 Raton Drive, please.
I move to approve as presented the petition of Thomas Lynch Esquire for a special exception to allow a kitchen for pizza service at Tribus Beer Co. on map 73, block 928, parcel 4Q, of which YDFCT Holdings LLC is the owner.
I'll second.
Thank you. Having a motion and a second, would you please take the call, the roll call, please?
Mr. Agnesi,
With the motion.
Mr. Alling,
With the motion.
Mr. Anderson,
With the motion.
Mr. Hirsch,
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian,
With the motion.
Mr. Machio,
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer,
With the motion.
Mr. Sadik.
With the motion, thank you very much, gentlemen, and good luck with the pizza.
All right, thank you.
So the last matter, a public hearing, is proposed regulation change 24-4. I see Attorney Sharp is coming up with a petition of Sarah Sharp Esquire for a change to Milford zoning regulations, Article 5, Section 5.1.4, Figure 4, off-street parking. You have the floor, Attorney Sharp.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Nolan. I am here.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'm here on behalf of my colleague, Sarah Sharp. She has a conflicting hearing tonight. But for the record, I'm with the law firm Hurwitz, Sager & Schlossberg & Nuff, and our business address is 135 Broad Street here in Milford. What we're requesting to do tonight is to simply open the hearing and then continue it to the next meeting on June 4th. At which point we will fully present, and we look forward to being back before you all on June 4th.
Thank you. So this would require a motion to continue. Mr. Sulkus, would it require that, or require a motion to table?
No, you can, the request is being made by the applicant. You could vote on it, but you should honor it as we would any request by an applicant to delay an application.
Okay. And is there anybody that doesn't? Attorney, Mr. Hirsch, yes.
Yeah, could we just, I think we read the memo. I think we can dispose of this pretty quickly by just asking. So you were here, your colleague was here a couple months ago.
Sure.
With the one space for 150 square feet. Okay. We said no. And now you're coming back with one space for 75 square feet.
So unfortunately, this is one that my colleague needs to be here to answer. This is not something that I am well versed in. So what we'd like to do is open the hearing and allow everyone to be here. I'm happy to pass along the comments to Attorney Sharp and to our client, but we'd like to immediately continue this to the next meeting for a full discussion.
No presentation. Okay. That's quick.
And again, seeing no opposition, this matter will be continued and docketed on the June 4th, 2024 date. It is a public hearing. I don't see anybody that wants to speak on said issue at this point. So thank you very much, and this matter will be continued to June 4th.
Thank you very much, everyone.
There is no old business. Liaison reports, I have nothing to report other than my report earlier in May. Subcommittee reports, I have not been made aware of any. Approval of the minutes. Mr. Anderson is moving.
Second.
Mr. Mortimer, second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? And Brian's abstaining. Thank you very much. There is no chair's report for tonight. Well, then thank you very much for being helpful to my job up here. And is there a staff report, Mr. Sulkus?
I can speak to the regulation subcommittee meeting that took place last week. We had a regulation subcommittee meeting and a discussion regarding housing affordability and regulations took place. And staff is in the process of drafting some regulations as a starting point for the CDD zones, which the committee has identified as probably the best place to start to promote additional affordable housing.
Thank you. And just some guidance that you would need. As I understood what was going to be happening last Wednesday, was supposed to be a special meeting to which we didn't get a quorum. Therefore, there was a meeting of the subcommittee with possibly some members not there. The question I have to you is, can the members that did not attend the meeting look it up on MGAT? Are they allowed to do that?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Staff report, any other matters for the common good, or just a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, well, thank you very much. See you on June 4th.
About third inning of the Yankees game.
There you go. I know.
Nice job, Bob.